Hello YouTube, Scotty Boy here, and today in this video I want to answer the big question of, do I need a hair transplant? Now I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you've probably already started doing a bit of research into hair loss solutions, including hair transplants. However, if you've already done this research, you've probably already stumbled across two other types of medication which are the two main alternate solutions to hair loss right now. That is Finasteride and Rogaine. Also, Finasteride also goes by Forster, and Rogaine also goes by the name of Minoxidil. Now, if you've done any research into these medications, you're probably aware that they're non-surgical solutions, and they're the main type of non-surgical hair loss option that most guys and women will try. And that's something that I personally did as well. Before I had my hair transplant done, I personally tried Minoxidil and Finasteride. So, if you're watching this, I'm assuming you're probably wanting to an answer to the question of, do either of these solutions work? And so, that's what I'm here to discuss. So, let's start off with Rogaine, because that's the hair loss solution that I tried first. So, Rogaine is a liquid/foam medication which you essentially dab into your scalp, or in and around the hair loss area that you have. So, for example, I was losing my hair in the corners here, so I would take my minoxidil foam, I'd spray it on my hand, rub it in my hand, and then dab it onto my scalp, like so. And then I'd let it sit there for most of the day, don't let it get wet, let it kind of soak in for at least I think it's 6 to 8 hours. Was Rogaine useful in growing back my hair? The short answer is no, it didn't. Did it grow some small, minute baby hairs that kind of sprouted through but were a bit thin and weak? Yes, it did. Did it grow any really strong, thick new hairs? No, it didn't. Did it help restore my hairline at all to where it was previously? No, it didn't. So now, I know when you go online, you're probably going to see lots of people who said they had good experience with Rogaine and Minoxidil. And you know what? Fair play to them. Some people do have better experiences with it than others. I, however, had very minuscule results. Like I said, I had small baby thin hairs that sprouted through, but nothing really significant, and definitely wasn't a full restoration of my hair. But like I say, there will be other people out there who may have had better results. However, with the more and more research I did into Rogaine and Minoxidil, the more and more I kind of found out that these results, that the guys who had the really good results were more in the minority. And if anything, the results that they had they were never a full restoration of what they had previously. So, now the next hair loss medication that you're probably looking into is Finasteride, also known as Forster. Now, the Finasteride is just a small pill that you take once per day. So just in that sense alone, it's a lot less annoying than the Minoxidil, because obviously the Minoxidil is a liquid, which then you have to rub into your hand, and you have to put it into your scalp, and then obviously your scalp's a bit wet. So like I say, it's a lot easier just taking a small pill. Now, what Finasteride is Finasteride is a DHT blocker. Now, DHT is the hormone that is produced in your body. DHT is what causes the thinning of hair follicles. So it causes the hair follicles over time, as the hair follicles that are susceptible to DHT, as they're exposed more and more to it, they begin to thin out and die, which is obviously why you end up with baldness, unfortunately. Now, what Finasteride does is Finasteride blocks that DHT. So it should basically stop any further hair loss that you have. That wording there I just used is the key point to this. It will prevent any further hair loss that you already have. So, the question you're probably asking, will Finasteride regrow my hair? The short answer is, in my experience, no, it won't. Will Finasteride halt or stop or slow down any further hair loss that you have? Yes, it will. At least in my experience anyway. And from what I've also read online, that is the general message that I've gotten from other people's experiences, is that Finasteride at the very minimum will halt or stop or slow down any further hair loss that you have. Now, in regards to will it make hair grow back, well, the results are varied on that. And if you do the research, you'll see that guys have had lots of different results on it. I've seen best case scenario, I've seen guys who have had overall thinning hair, and I've seen them basically have before and after photos where they've basically got pretty much the majority of what they lost back just from taking finasteride. However, the key point I noticed in all these cases was that the guy who was taking finasteride, his hair wasn't completely bald, but it had generally thinned out all over. So he still had general thin coverage, but when he started taking the finasteride, he was able to restore some of that thickness back to the hair follicles that he already had. So again, take that for what it is. Again, I would personally recommend doing your own research into it to see to see what you think the results are. Speaking for myself, I would say that finasteride did, at the very least, it certainly halted any further hair loss that I had. After I started taking it, I didn't notice any further hair loss on my scalp. Did it regrow any of my hairs that I had? It did a little bit. Right in the corner, right in the temple region, so like right back here, where the hair loss was going. Some of the hairs in there were starting to like thin out, and when I started taking the finasteride, it kind of thickened those hairs back up again. It rejuvenated them and kind of brought them back to life. So again, take that for what it is. That was my personal experience with it. Now, do I continue to take finasteride? Yes, I do. I take it as a preventative measure against any further hair loss I might have, because I in my personal experience, I know that my brother and my dad and my uncle, both my granddads, all went bald. So I know that genetically, the odds aren't in my favor. So I'm still taking finasteride as a preventative measure to stop any further hair loss that I might have. And like I say, I've still yet to see any hair loss, any more hair loss on any other parts of my head. Again, as you can see, hopefully that shows you the top of the crown of my head. But I don't have any hair loss here, and I don't have any hair loss around here. Now, I am as I'm making this video, I am 26. So again, I don't know. Who knows when the hair loss might start hitting me harder. I suppose I'll never know, because as I say, I'm taking finasteride. So if I wasn't taking finasteride, if I hadn't been taking finasteride for the past about 4 years now, who knows? Maybe I would have had a bald spot by now. Maybe I would have had more hair loss in the middle. Who knows? Unfortunately, we can't run a double experiment where I duplicate myself and have one of myself who doesn't take finasteride and the other one who does, unfortunately. But yeah, so my personal opinion of finasteride would be at least in my case, that it works, and that I would say if you're interested in taking finasteride or wanting to know more about it, obviously I'm not a medical person, I'm not a doctor, so obviously I recommend go see your doctor, talk to them about it. Like I say, finasteride is not for everyone. Obviously there are some medical conditions where people can't take it, so definitely go talk to your doctor first, see if it was okay, and then I would like to say, other than that, if the doctor says okay, I would definitely say, give it a go and see how it works. Now, with finasteride, there is a bit of a taboo with it because of some of the horror stories that I've read online, or some of the horror stories that you may have read online about it basically putting people into like deep suicidal depression and all sorts of problems with erectile dysfunction and all these other kind of horror type situation that people have gotten into after taking finasteride. My personal view on that is that I personally, when I read those stories and saw these things that people had written about finasteride and actually started taking it, I'm not going to base my decisions based on the experiences of the minority of people who have taken something. So, because like I say, if you go online and look up any type of surgery, whether it's organ transplants, or heart bypass, or laser eye surgery, you're going and you type in horror stories after that surgery, you're going to find horror stories. You're going to find stories where the surgery went horribly wrong, it ruined the person's life. And that's not to diminish what happened to that particular person, but there's always going to be irregularities. There's always going to be bad stories or bad cases where things haven't gone right in a surgery and it's not worked out for one particular person. But just because it's not worked out for that minority of people who've had that surgery doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. So like I say, same with medication you're taking. Just because a few people had a really bad experience with finasteride, and again, that's not to diminish what happened to them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen to you. And so, speaking for myself personally, I never had any bad experience with finasteride, hence why I'm still taking it. So now, if you're still watching this, and you're wondering, okay, well, the finasteride works, the Rogaine you didn't feel like worked, so why do you still have a hair transplant? Well, I basically came to the conclusion was that because after being on the finasteride for about a year and a half, even though it had stopped any further hair loss and it had kind of strengthened some of the hairs that were kind of in the corners where the hairline was receding into, it still didn't restore my hairline to where it is now. After this is being a year after I've had the hair transplant, it didn't magically grow all those hairs back. So for me, the hair transplant was actually really the last resort because nothing else worked, and I wanted a full restoration of the hair that I lost. And so if you're in a similar position to me and you're wanting a full hair loss restoration, then in my opinion and in my experience, the only way you're going to get that back is if you go in for a hair transplant. Like I say, finasteride will at very least will stop any further hair loss that you have, but based on my experience and based on what I've seen kind of online generally, is it going to fully restore your hairline to where it was previously? No, it's not. So that is kind of my summary of Rogaine and finasteride and whether or not you need a hair transplant. Now, just as a side note, I know that I stated that I first tried Rogaine and then I tried finasteride and then I went for the hair transplant. So I actually went through 3 different types of hair loss solutions, and if I could go back in time and tell myself how to do it differently, I would tell myself, go straight for the hair transplant and stop taking the Rogaine and keep using the finasteride. Like I say, Rogaine I think was just a complete waste of time essentially. I took Rogaine for about 2 years, so it can't be said that I didn't at least give it a go. 2 years is a long time on Rogaine, and like I say, I saw minimal results. The best I got were a few minute baby hairs that kind of sprouted through, and that was it. Like I say, finasteride, yes, definitely, I would definitely recommend it, but again, go see a doctor first. I'm not a medical person, make sure it's okay for you to take it, then start taking it, and then see how you go on it. And if you do have any adverse side effects taking finasteride, obviously you just stop taking it. But yeah, my main point that I want to get across in this video is that if you're looking for a full restoration of the hair that you have lost, you're probably going to have to get a hair transplant. And like I say, now looking back on it, I just wish I had done it way sooner. And that's something else that comes up from other people's videos that I've watched, is that most people are just like, yeah, I just wish I'd gotten done the hair transplant sooner. Because it would have saved me a lot of, heart going like this all the time in the mirror. My hair, my hair, my hair. Gosh, like, if I'd just done it a few years earlier, I would have saved myself a lot of time doing that in the mirror. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. Like I say, if you have any questions, please leave in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer anything that I can. Alright, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Alright, thanks for watching.